Playing catch up. This is a major catch up. I don't know what happened in my life, but here we are. We're doing some catch up. This is the video for the July stamp of the month. Bee's Knees, I think it's called. I'm not sure, but it has this cute bee, the beehive, and some really nice sentiments in it. I'm going to start you off with a little bit of knowledge. My stamp right here, this little honeycomb, is missing, and I used it a lot in this kit. I have found it 3 times and then re-lost it, and they are a little bit sticky, so I just found it over the weekend, and then I had it sitting on a block, but I've used it so much that it kind of lost a little bit of its stickiness, and I needed to wash it. Anyway, I have a feeling that we were at the crop shop, and I have a feeling that someone brushed by it and it got stuck on someone's clothes because it's no longer on the block and it's nowhere to be seen. So I'll be doing something a little bit different. You can see I use it in my background. Let me make sure I'm in frame. We're on YouTube today because Facebook Live seemed to not like me and it kept saying there was an error. But you can see I just did that in a little background on that card is what I used that for. And then I used a different background for that one. So on that one, we're safe. So anyway, we are going to go ahead and get started with the with this card. And the other reason it took me so long, oh my goodness, I just have not been able to get it together. I had everything here at home, and then I was taking it back to the shop, and then I had it back at home, and so I was all over the place. So for the last 2 days, I've been wanting to do this, these 2 kits. But lo and behold, I had the stamp for one and not the kit. Like this one, I had the stamp, but I didn't have the kit. And the other one, I had the kit and not the stamp. So I have just been all over the map here lately. I did go on and make myself another kit, but I didn't have quite enough of this paper. So mine is a little bit different from yours, but that's okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with the base of this one. And here is, where'd my squishy mat go? I just pulled it off. Oh, it's over here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I will use my Versamat and flip it to stamp on, but mine are well loved and well used, so I'm also going to go ahead and add the squishy mat that comes with the kit. So you know what, this one has flowers. I don't think that's going to hurt my feelings to have the one with flowers on it. So we're going to go on and pull this guy out with the little flowers and get my black ink out, and here I thought I had everything ready. And I don't. I left my black ink at the shop because I said, oh, I have plenty of black ink at home. I don't need that. We just look one more time. Yep, not sure where my black ink is. And I just cleaned off this table too, and I'm not seeing my black ink. Okay, so we're going to use some cocoa. Not quite the same. I would like you to use black, but here we go. So we're going to just go ahead and stamp some of these just around the background here and there. Ooh, well, look at that. We'll just make sure his little wing goes right there. And if you're using your stamp that's like this, they're going to nestle in together so you can make yourself a cute little honeycomb. So go in and nestle those in together so that they give you that cute little honeycomb. Mine, like I said, is going to be a little bit different today because mine has gone MIA. So we're going to cover some of these up, so it really doesn't matter if they are to perfection or not, because again, we are going to cover some of them up. I'm just trying to get a little bit of background going on them, just a little bit of attention to detail. Sometimes that little background detail can make a big difference in your full project. Okay, so just here and there, again, nothing major, nothing huge. You know what? I really do need my black ink because we're just gonna fake it till we make it, aren't we? And I was so prepared. I've waited 3 days to be prepared for this. All right, so we've got our background stamp. So next we are going to go ahead and add our strip. So you should have a strip that has got the grass, and then you have a strip that looks like this. Mine is a little bit different, and that's okay. But what I'm going to go ahead and do, these are both 1 inch, so I'm going to go ahead and stack these together and give them both just a little bit of a banner. And so the way I like to do these banners, if you're an eyeballer like myself, let me make sure I'm still recording. Whew, that would be just my luck to not have it recording. So if you're not quite a perfectionist like myself, I just trim up the center and then in on either side. Now, if you're a perfectionist, you can put this on your trimmer and measure in. So since this is a 1/2 inch paper, you can measure in to a 1/2 inch and cut up to, 1/2 to 3/4, and then use your scissors. So that way you've got it perfectly centered. All right, so let me get my little bag of tricks out here. And we're going to put the green piece, or the green grass piece, down first. And I'm going to put that low enough so I'm still seeing my little, well, actually, let me do this real quick. I know we've got some more stamping to do, but let me flip this back over so that we can measure properly. Okay, so at the bottom, I'm going to go ahead and put this piece about 3/4 of an inch up. So I'm putting this at the 2 inch mark. I'm just putting this here so I feel like you can see it better. I would usually start down at the bottom. All right, so choose that 3/4 inch mark. Put that piece down. I'm going to get my next one and I'm going to overlap that. So that one I will put at about the 1 1/4 up. So it's just overlapping. The next thing that we need to do is stamp this high sentiment. This one is not mine. Where did mine go? My goodness. Well, I guess it is. I just cut it a little bit too long. That's okay. All right, so now we're going to stamp high in the center of this. And again, I'm doing this with an older color called Cocoa. I would prefer you to do it in brown. And as a matter of fact, with the glory of the magic of video, I have pre-stamped these and colored them in. But when you stamp your butterfly, your bees, and your honeycomb, what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to stamp in archival black or in something that's not going to run. Because you are coloring these with a magic marker, I say magic marker, you're coloring these with, I colored mine with my Tri-Blends, and because they are an alcohol marker, they will bleed. So go and color these in with a non-running, so we've got Close to My Heart Cells. Actually, we got rid of our water-based black. The only thing we have now is archival or intense black. And both of those are safe. Intense is the better one. And then, some people like to use Memento. All right, so getting that in nicely. Yep, that is good. And then I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to put this in just a little bit deeper because I cut mine a little bit too long. So I'm going to cut mine in just a little bit. Yours should be cut perfectly. Like I said, I was just going by the seat of my pants and cutting myself a new kit just so that I could get this video up for you, because gosh, from July to January is long enough, wouldn't you say? All right, so the next thing that I did with this one, and I know I do have sapphire here, is I did sapphire edging on this banner piece. And so, well, I got that a little, must have had some on my hands. So you take your sapphire ink and rub it directly onto your piece, okay? So just scrape those edges to give you that direct dye ink. Now this will probably run a little bit more. It takes a little bit longer to dry. All right, so let me move that completely out of the way so I don't make any more messes than what I already have made. All right, so I'm going to put our high right here as well. And then I'm going to put one of our little bees right here on top, and I'm going to put some foam tape on that. So I am using a thinner foam tape for this. I usually use the Close to My Heart roll, but as most of you I'm actually also selling some of my mother's stuff. She was quite the collector. And so I've got a baggie now of all my little foam tapes and adhesives from other companies. So some of that kind of stuff I'm not selling because I do use so much of it. So you might see me seeing some stuff that's not close to my heart, but that's because I am using up some stash. All right, so this is going to go on a larger card, so it's okay if this overlaps just a little bit, and I kind of want it to because y'all saw earlier where I dropped my block and it messed that up a little bit. So if I put that right there, that is going to cover that up perfectly. All right, next up we're going to add that to the card base. Make sure I've got it opening properly, and I do. Okay, so now for our inside. This was the fun surprise for this one. When you open it up, you've got your floating bees, okay? So we're going to work on that next. You all have a 1x8 strip. And so what we're going to do is we're going to score your 1x8 strip at 1 inch all the way down, okay? So I'm just going to use, some people have a scoring board. I'm just going to use my Fiskars trimmer. And I'm going to measure it in at 1 inch, and I'm going to use my bone folder and just score it right there. And so now, right, did I do 1 inch? Oh, wait, I need the one that's made. Where'd you go? Yes, it's 1 inch. Okay, good deal. All right, so now I'm moving it down to 5 inch mark, scoring. 4 inch mark, score. 3, score. 2, score. And 1, score. All right, so we've got our scoring done. And then we are going to fold this valley and hill. Mountain and valley is what this is called. So mountain and valley, we're going to fold that mountain and valley. So mine is, let's see if I did it right. I did. So mine goes like this. So it starts with a valley and it goes up to the mountain. Now, if you did yours differently, that's okay. Just fold it the other way. But it starts with a valley, up to the mountain, valley, mountain, valley, mountain, valley. And it ends, the very end on each one are mountains. So they're up and everything else is down. Okay. So now what we want to do is, and if you have any score tape right now would be the perfect time for it. But do I have any in my vision? Absolutely not. You see how I like to prepare myself here for these events? This is why I guess I couldn't ever be a president, because I am not prepared. Ooh, found that. That's good. Okay, so we're just going to use some adhesive. Or you can use some wet glue. If you have wet glue too, that will be good. I may, if this comes to fall off, I may end up, go ahead and, put some of the red line tape on underneath of that. All right, so I'm going to come over here to the 3 inch mark and about the center and put that down right there. Now I'm going to fold that down just like so. And then I'm going to put more adhesive on this last piece. And now I'm going to shut the card. Press that down really nicely. And now when you open it, you have your little lifting. Okay, so before I mess up any of my beautiful coloring that I did, I am going to go ahead and stamp Thinking of You, Sweet Friend. Probably should have started with that, but that's okay. And I obviously need to wash my hands because I already have a fingerprint. So you can never get away with like DNA with me. If they ever want a fingerprint, they don't even need fingerprint dust. They can just find my fingerprint because there it is. All right, so Thinking of You, Sweet Friend is going to go right here. Now I am being very careful not to rock my block because as you can see, I got a little bit of that ink on the edge. And so I don't want it to leave a line on my paper. So I'm being very careful not to rock that block. I've already got a fingerprint. I don't need even more mess, right? I'll just write my name right there, or whoever gets this can write their name, and there we go. You don't even, that fingerprint won't even notice. Okay, so next, now we're going to add our little bees, and we're going to add them kind of so that they look like they're flying. Now, glue dots would also be very good right here for this because they secure nicely. So I'm going to put my first one going to the, looking like he's flying to the right. And I'm just going to put the adhesive on his butt so I don't get adhesive anywhere else. I'll put the next one flying straight up in the air. And the third one that's closest to me, I'm going to put him so that he's flying to the left. Now I do have to be careful so that his wing will work in that, because if I put him too low, his wing is going to fold. Okay, so here we go. We're done with card number 1. Let me stand up and make sure I've got us in frame. That says hi. And then when we open up, our little bees pop out, thinking of you, sweet friend. All right, so there we go. There's card 1. Woohoo! Card 2 is super easy. Let me put these away and pull out card 2. We will need for card 2 some inking. So I have, and I did bring these inks home. Papaya is what I colored right in here. Shortbread is what I colored in the bee and his little. And then we have Glacier. So I'm going to start. Where's my card base? Are you kidding me right now? Okay, good thing I have one of those handy. The one thing I didn't have to search for. Are you impressed? Of course, I just knocked everything down off the shelf getting it, but you know, what can you say? Now this one you can see has made its rounds around the shop because it has got, it's got some little booger places on it. So I won't be giving this away. It is my template. So let us start with Glacier. We're going to be preparing the base, okay? Again, I would really love to have my black because I need to stamp this bee off of the corner. But we're just going to start right here. So I'm going to start with my Glacier. And I am working off of my little foam. If you have a piece of paper or your all-purpose mat, that's good for cleanup. I am working off of the foam, and then I'll just remove the foam or flip it over. All right, so I'm going to start by getting some ink on my card. So the way we like to do this is start from the bottom and work up so you don't have any plops of ink. So you kind of come off the paper and then roll it up. And so it's going to come just a little at a time, but just keep applying until you feel good about how much ink you have on your base. So I'm kind of going, you know, a little less on this side, moving up to the top corner. And I do want to come on up because I do have that blue showing above my little beehive. So I do want to come up a little bit. Now, at this point, I'm not being as careful to start over here just because I'm going to be covering this up with the beehive, and I don't want to waste too much of my ink down here. So I am going and starting in the middle and lifting that up a little bit more for this one. But usually if you're going to see everything you're working on, you'll want to start off the paper and come onto the paper. That way, like I said, you don't have any blops of color that's darker and it's harder to move. I'm thinking I might need a little re-inking on mine. All right, let's see if you're going to see it. A little bit more right over here. All right, so next we are going to use this little background stamp. It's like a little, just a little, now I wish I had my little 1-inch block here. That would be, okay, so you're best off, and I did have a 1-inch block here. I don't know where it is, but you're best off to have multiple size blocks. That way you can use the block that is closest to the size of your stamp. That is going to give you less room for error as far as like putting those lines of color where they don't belong. All right, so once again with this one, I'm just random stamping. Some of them are going to stamp right off of the page. Some of them I am stamping several together. This middle, I really don't need to stamp very much because that's where our little honeycomb is going to go, or our, yeah, honeycomb. So I think that looks pretty good there. We're going to stick with that. Yep, so I'm going to use cocoa again because it's what I have handy. You use black, please. We're going to stamp this bee once more, and we're going to stamp him off. So what I'm actually going to do so that I have less mess that I have to worry about, ooh, we want this side, is I'm only going to ink this side. Since I don't have my all-purpose mat underneath of me, I'm going to fold this guy, fold him up so that I'm only inking this part. That way I don't have as much ink everywhere else. That's the nice thing about these, is to be able to fold them up and get some of that out of your way. So we want him very, very inky because he's got a lot of like that black body. All right, so now we're going to stamp him coming in off of the side. All right, not too bad. That's not too bad in brown. I'm not mad at that. I will take, though, my black pen, because you see that corner didn't come all the way through. So I will take my little black pen. And again, if you're using black, then it's going to be better for you. Since I'm using brown, I'm going to need to go through and do all of his stripes. But if those stripes didn't come out whole, just get you a fine point Sharpie or a fine point marker and color that guy right back in. And I'm going to give this a chance to dry while I work on my little beehive. Now my beehive I had stamped prior, so mine is already done. So you will want to make sure that you have yours a nice, give it some time to dry. So here's what I did just to make it, it's not, mine is not, you know, perfection. It is like the coloring. I didn't feel like coloring all of this in like crazy. So what I did is I got my shortbread ink and I just did the same thing as I randomly just colored this in. Just to give that a pop of color, but not a perfect color line. You know what I mean? A little more Picasso-ish rather than, well, I don't know my artist. I was going to say Da Vinci, right? Da Vinci is the one that did, yeah. So Da Vinci is perfection, right? Picasso is a little more out there. So see there? So I've got some color all the way around. Now I'm going to do the same thing. All right, let's hope that his little butt is dry enough. Nope, I'm going to wait a minute on his butt. Make sure that's a little drier. Now I'm going to use some papaya. So my papaya is going to be right up and down those flowers. right. So that's pretty good. I like that. Just like I said, a pop of color, not the whole thing. So the only thing left that we have to do is do a little bit of greenery. So I'm just going to grab one of my green tri-blends. And I'm going to color the leaves. All the little leaves that I see. There aren't a lot of them. And you do kind of have to look for them because they're tucked in. But that just gives a pop, little teeny tiny pop of extra color. Let's see, did I miss any? Now, if you wanted to even pop this some more, you could use a little bit of yellow or orange in the middle of those flowers. But there is where we're at with that. Oop, and I need to stamp the just because. So that's sentiment. Grab a scrap of white. Like I said, I've misplaced my my kit, so I had to make a new one. So that's looking like it's about a 1/2 of an inch. Or is it? Nope, more like 5/8. All right, so 5/8. Yes, perfect. By 2.5. And I'm just like doing little guesses because I don't have my, don't ask me where it is, my ruler. All right, so let's stamp just because. Where did mine go? Oh, okay, there we go. So we're going to stamp just because in the papaya. Just because. So that is in papaya. Oh, now listen, here's what happened. Because this one's a little bit floppier, it went on the block a little bit sideways. So you can just lift it up and put it back down. I already have ink on mine, so that's how I did mine. But if you don't have ink on yours, just put it on your table or on your mat with the sticky side up, and it will retain its own shape. Okay, so just because. Perfect. And then we are going to take the glacier to once again just do a little bit of edging. Because it is going on top of a white, because it's white and I have had some color, if I put that glacier, that's going to be a little bit darker even than the base that's there. So you're going to see it a little bit better. All right, so looks like I did lift that a little bit. So again, with some thin foam tape. Now you can use thicker foam tape if you want. I've heard people complain that when you use thick foam tape, sometimes when you put these in the mail, they want some extra shipping. I have never had that happen. Mine always goes just fine. But I did have one time a friend of mine sent me a card, her wedding invitation, and it had wood veneer in it, and it did not get returned. Did it get returned? So I'm putting this all the way to the side. I want to say it either got returned or it wanted me to pay like $6 extra shipping. It was rather ridiculous. Okay, so just because is going to go over top of that. So that means since that is lifted, I need to put foam tape just on the left side. And then I'll use a regular adhesive on the right. So that way it is the same dimension as our little hive. Okay, so did I overlap that a little bit? Nope. Well, I don't know why that's popping up a little bit. All right, let's hope that this dried enough because I'm going to put a little bit of color on our little bee's wings. And I went a little bit out of the lines. That's not the end of the world. All right, and you can color him. Okay, so I did color his little booty with that shortbread. Just again to give us a little bit of that black and yellow bee look. And you know what? Because I did put marker over top of there, and this is not smudge-proof ink, I tapped instead of rubbed. Because rubbing is going to make more of a mess. Tapping is going to be a little bit easier. So let me just finish this up with a few of our little leaves being green. I did do that in the original one. See, I know a lot of people love these floral little guys, but I am going to be honest with you. The coloring, it's tedious for me. It is not my friend. Like, I like a more abstract coloring. When it's lots of tiny, tiny little things, and I don't mind coloring like a gnome or something that's a little bit larger, but when it's teeny tiny like this, it's like, ugh, my brain and my eyes. All right, so there's number 2. See, I did get a little line right there. So that's okay. That means people will know that it is handmade, right? So there are both of our cards. So my original, my next one, and then our sweet little pop-up guy. Oh, I'm out of frame. Okay, so that's it for me for now. I'll be back hopefully this afternoon with some August. I am off to get, I'm so excited. My friends for my 50th birthday bought me a facial and a pedicure and a manicure. So I am off for a spa day. All right, y'all have a fabulous, fabulous day, and I will see you back for our next one. How do I turn you off? Okay, bye.